Hi gang, welcome back to Ask the Doctor, the series where you submit your questions to us and we do our very best to get them answered. Okay, today's question we're going to start with is from Hilda. And Hilda says, I know peripheral neuropathy can be reversed because the both of you, and she's referring to Dr.C and I, helped me reverse mine over 6 years ago and I'm still neuropathy free. But please tell me why so many doctors are still telling patients like me that it's incurable. The neurologist I went to before seeing Dr.C told me that the only thing I could do was take medication like gabapentin or Lyrica for my symptoms, but the medication wouldn't prevent my neuropathy from getting worse. The doctor actually told me that it would worsen with time. I was literally ready to kill myself before I found Dr.C. Docs, why are doctors crushing people's lives with this false information? Whew, that was a mouthful. Hi, Hilda. I remember you and your amazing husband very well, and it truly, truly was a pleasure working with you, and I'm so glad to hear you're still doing great. Now, you raise an incredible question, and we get asked this all the time. In fact, there was a woman just recently from Malaysia who reached out to us, and she had a very similar question. She said, you know, my doctor told me because I have diabetes that there was no cure for my peripheral neuropathy. So you can see this is going on all over the world. Okay, so why are doctors still saying it's permanent? Well, here's why this is still going on. The first thing I want you to realize is that in Western medicine, which is the traditional medical system we're accustomed to in the US, when a doctor says that something is incurable, it doesn't mean that condition can't ever be cured. It simply means that it can't be cured with drugs or surgery. Remember, when you go to either your family doctor, an internal medicine doctor, a cardiologist, or a neurologist, for example, their entire medical training revolves around treating conditions with medications or by performing surgical intervention. If your condition can't be cured with drugs or surgery, then traditional doctors will say this condition is incurable. Unless a doctor specializes in functional medicine or unless they have a very personal vested interest in a particular condition, they're not going to examine any other alternative treatment. In fact, I can't tell you how many of our neuropathy patients went back to their doctors and brought our business cards. True story. After recovering with our treatments, they told their doctors, Doc, you need to talk to these doctors. They're the real deal. Remember how bad my peripheral neuropathy was? And look at me now. No cane. I'm walking. I feel great. Please call these docs. A testimony doesn't get better than that, right? So you would think that our phones would be ringing off the hook from these doctors. Would you like to know how many doctors actually reached out to us? 0. Not a single one. Can you believe that? Now, complex that with the fact that it takes a huge amount of time to stay in tune with the most current research. And I'm saying it can take a time investment of 200 hours or more per year to dig through the research and analyze it for validity, because not all research is valid, nor is it unbiased. The average doctor isn't going to spend this amount of time researching new material. In fact, a typical doctor is only going to do the minimum required hours by their state licensing board for continuing education. And that usually will range anywhere from 20 to 30 hours per year. Now, when you look this up on Google, you'll find that the requirement is listed biennial or every 2 years. So you would double the hours I just gave you, but per year, it still remains the same. There are just a couple of states that have higher requirements than this, but not many. So my point is, you can't stay up to date with all of the medical research coming in by investing 1 or 2 weekends per year of your time, which is what the continuing education requirements amount to. Now, you'll find doctors like Dr.C and myself who far exceed the required hours of continuing education because we spend an easy 20 hours per month, and that's an understatement, combing through research, and that's because we fall into a special category of doctors, and that category is called the medical nerds. Dr. C hates it when I say this, but it's true, right? There are other doctors who fall into this group like us and are doing an enormous amount of research. Docs like Dr. Sten Ekberg, Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Terry Walls. These docs definitely make up the minority and not the majority. As long as Big Pharma controls Congress, and they do, as long as they control medical school curriculum, and they do, and as long as they're making obscene profits on drugs, this paradigm will not shift until all of you out there start demanding more from your doctors. Hilda, thank you so much for the opportunity to answer this question. Guys, keep your questions coming. They help so many people.